Turn them off.
Okay. Welcome back, inshallah. Today we're going to have a brief recap of what we did last week. And then we're going to start today's lecture, which is a different topic altogether, but a topic nonetheless that has a lot of importance and a lot of relevance. Alright, you won't have to read it. So, we'll start with this already. So, we've been dealing for the past 2 weeks on Iman. How has Iman been understood, preserved, and transmitted by the vast majority of scholars for the vast majority of our history? And I think now you should have a bit to talk about. If I was to ask you certain things, then you would no doubt be able to speak. Those who were here on Jum'ah, last Jum'ah at the prayer room, will know that this topic is important because there's a student that asked about this particular topic. And he said, this is a very important topic, and one in which there's a lot of confusion. How did he put it?
It's a big issue where he lives.
A big issue where he lives, he said. It's a big issue. Which is a shame because had he spent 2 weeks coming to this class, it wouldn't be a big issue for him. But I can only do as much as I can, let people know, and people come up. These topics, you may not think they're important, but they are very, very, very important. And that students randomly, and he asked a question all about. Well, that's what he did there. I couldn't have staged it, or I tried to stage it. I couldn't just literally came and asked, I have this issue, these are the questions I have on this particular topic. Like, lo and behold, 4 days before, that's what we're talking about. So it is a relevant topic, although maybe some may not believe it is a very relevant topic. Right, and here's the answer.
By Ash'ari, Maturidi, and Ahl al-Hadith. Athari and Hanbalis, specifically those that adopt the free, non-specific interpretation and non-habitual interpretation. See last lecture. One is obliged to know their Aqidah, belief of the 6 pillars, according to these schools, of which the Ash'aris, Maturidis are the most developed. Learning one's Aqidah can be done by studying the basic text that is recognized and accepted by the Ummah with a qualified scholar, not one's own.
Not on one's own. You live stream it, you watch it. Why I put that in red? Why I made that distinction?
Because modern day authorities
Use the microphone.
modern day authorities don't adopt
Some modern day athletes, because athletes, some modern day athletes, or people who call themselves an athlete, yes?
Yeah, they don't adopt it and they do anthropomorphism.
Whether they know it or not, that's not true of all athletes, okay? That's my premise. Alright? Bismillah. You got it?
The Ash'aris, Maturidis, and the Ahl al-Hadith are schools that have been accepted by the Ummah as being rightly guided in the majority. They represent the way of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the companions, as well as the early Muslim community.
If I didn't have time to do this, and in the recommended reading, by the way, these slides will be uploaded at the end of the class. But if I was to, from the time of Hassan al-Ash'ari up to this present age, minus the last 2 years, or the fitna kind of happened, all the major scholars, the vast majority of those who are from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, will more than likely be Ash'ari or Maturidi. It's just a fact that can't be avoided. It is a historical fact. The vast majority of scholars from then until now, minus the last 2 years, the vast majority have been Ash'ari or Maturidi. That is something that history is glaring you in the face with. You can't be denied. So if you can prove to me otherwise, I'm open to listen. I mean, I'm open to listen to what you have to say. Myself, in 25 years worth of research, I just haven't seen anything else. No one's been able to manage to tell me otherwise. I'm open to being proven wrong.
Sunni Orthodox Muslims have historically been followers of them, as attested to by history. History is the biggest witness.
History is the biggest witness.
It is difficult.
If somebody was to ask, how do I know what you're telling me is right or wrong? How can I? And I said, well, istikhara. Use istikhara. But at the same time, I'm saying something. I think history says this. If you can prove to me historically that the scholars, the vast majority of scholars, were not Ash'ari or not believe that I'm wrong. My challenge to you is that you can't do that. You can't. It's impossible to do that. Which then leads to the issue of, right, were all those scholars wrong in that either? And when I say scholars, I mean like the major scholars of tafsir, the major scholars of fiqh, the major scholars of hadith, tafsir, Arabic language, even some of the biggest military leaders of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Salah al-Ayyubi, was Ash'ari. Whether it's in terms of politics, or in terms of religion, or whatever it may be, okay, they were Ash'ari or Maturidi. Were they all wrong in Aqidah? That's a very damning statement to make. Chances are they were right and you're wrong. Because where's the preservation that Allah promised? And what about the hadith? Follow the soul, the greatest number. I'm telling you the greatest number is this. And you can do with that as you please.
It is difficult to find any scholar who is accepted by the Ummah in any field of Islamic knowledge, except that they are Ash'ari, Maturidis, or Ahl Hadith, Athari. Those that don't have been looked at as not orthodox, e.g. Mu'tazila, Anthropologists, etc. And it's still the case today. Ambiguous verses in Hadith. Ambiguous verses in Hadith exist that have proven challenging to deal with. These are texts that, if taken by the outward literally meaning, would liken Allah to creation, e.g. human attributes.
This is all from last week's lecture, nothing new.
One approach adopted by the majority of the early Muslims was the weird, non-specific interpretation. This was favored by the Ash'aris, Maturidis, and the Ahl Hadith, as it was the safest. Later Muslim scholars, due to the rise of literalism and anthropomorphism, adopted a more practical approach called ta'wil, specific interpretation. This was done by the Ash'aris, Maturidis, but not the Ahl Hadith.
So all the Ash'aris and the Maturidis and the Ahl Hadith or Athari all agree that we don't take these things literally. We remove any literal meaning to the verses that would give you that meaning. All three agree on that. Just how they deal with that from there. We all agree we don't give Allah any outward resemblance or outward bodily form. Okay? Historically. All agree on that. Just from them, how they get around that, what they do with that afterwards is a different matter.
The Quran is accepting the verses hadith as they have come without saying or claiming to know how they are meant, not interpreting their meaning.
Historically, that's it. The Salaf, that's what Tafsir was with them. Okay?
2. Negating any literal interpretation based on the outward linguistical meaning that would give Allah human attributes. There is nothing whatsoever like unto him. Consigning to Allah the meaning of the mutashabihat, unapparent meanings, ambiguous of the Quran Hadith. Accept, negate, and consign.
We accept the verse as it is. We negate any literal interpretation that those meanings give to the human mind or give to the reader linguistically. The outward linguistic meaning of hand we reject. Exactly as Allah was before. We reject that. And we consign the meaning of those things to Allah. That's the tafweed of the Salaf. Alright, Bismillah.
Summary. Sadly, there was a great development in the Hanbali school of fiqh centuries ago. A branch of them inclined towards anthropomorphism, giving Allah a bodily form, and use the ambiguous to do so. This was wholly unrepresentative of the Ahl Hadith as a whole. Ibn Jawzi, a famous Hanbali scholar, wrote a whole book refuting them. Recently translated as The Attributes of God by Abdullah bin Hamid Ali.
Excellent book, worth getting. Get that book.
I think he spelled attributes wrong.
I'm not going to still Muslim, okay.
Okay.
These days I can deal with a spelling mistake, inshallah. But I can't deal with people like that. So I'm doing okay so far, just a spelling mistake, but keep an eye out. Although, I'll leave it. I'll say it again. Anyway, keep going.
Certainly, this faction still referred to itself as the Ahl Hadith even today, and even went so far as to say that their literal interpretation was the way of the early Muslims. Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim being examples who are quoted today. This is the case today, so be aware of people who promote such things, for they are a sign of deviancy.
Well, I recommend reading. These have been carefully selected. Read the articles and get the book, inshallah. So number one, The Creed of Imam al-Tahawi by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, excellent book. Need to study it, but inshallah there will be online courses at some point. Seeker's Guidance always has courses. They had a Hanifi course, I kind of forgot on WhatsApp, for those who want to be a Hanifi fiqh. Sheikh Rabbani is doing a free course, so there's no excuse for now. You guys can learn your fiqh. But anyway, The Creed of Imam al-Tahawi, alright? The Creed of Imam al-Dir. You study that on Micah, right? That's the book you do. So, no, it's not that. That was Seeker's Guidance. What's that? Alright, you can get it on that website there. These are classical works that everybody agrees on. Aqid al-Awam is a latter-day poem. It's the one I kind of studied when I was in Yemen. It's in Arabic. I'm not sure if there's a translation. It's a shame, but it's a very basic, standard Ash'ari creed. Really good book. One of the basics books, but really good. This is an excellent book. Anybody here, or listening live, or listening in the future, that has issues with the Ash'ari school, or the Maturidi school, or has any concerns, or has any kind of what to say in terms of people who criticize, that is the book. That book right there, Ahl Sunnah, the Ash'aris, I've read that twice. Cover to cover. It is an excellent book. Excellent book. And you can get it on there. Or you can get it on Amazon. So on Amazon. It's actually sold out. But on Amazon you can get it. You won't get it there, you get it on Amazon. Excellent book. That covers every single criticism that people have of the Ash'ari school. That book has it. It's a very easy book to read. But it's, mashallah, it's a very thorough and highly recommended book for anybody that has any doubts, or for you to be able to deal with people who have doubts. That is the number one book to get. Highly recommended. Masood Khan's website, excellent website. It's a good detailed article. Discuss the Ash'aris and the Maturidis. There are things that I have not put into my slides, examples of this and that. I just don't have time. But you guys do a bit of work and read it. For example, there was a lot more examples from the Salaf of Ta'wil that I didn't put on there. Just don't have time. But it's all on the recommended reading. Go and find it. It's all there. Yeah, this is a good article, Literalism and the Attributes of Allah. Read from the paragraph regarding the second question. From there, that's where I recommend you reading. You can read before, but for what we want to do from then on in is a good place to start. This discusses Imam Ahmed and the claim that he was an anthropomorphist. People make that claim, it's wrong. And that article explains it, why that is a wrong claim to be made. And we have a fatwa from Dar al-Ifta, that's fatwa by the Azhari scholars, one of the highest bodies in Ahl Sunnah Jama'at in the Sunni world that says who are the Ash'aris? Or the Ash'aris. It's a fatwa well worth reading to see that it's not just me saying this, right? These are the highest voices in Sunni Islam that exist. That's the whole fatwa talking about that. Again, this is also a good article by Sayyid Muhammad al-Maliki, who speaks about the Ash'ari school in a very basic, very simple way. But everything you need is there. Everything. I haven't left anything out for you guys, inshallah. So forgive me if you ask me a question and I say, it's on this, go read it, or go buy the book, which I'm going to do. Right, now we're going to start a different topic. Bismillah, Hassan, bring it to your lips.
In the last 6 weeks, we have seen how historically Islam, we have the 4 schools, and Iman, we have the 3 schools of Aqidah, Ash'aris, Maturidis, and non-anthropomorphic Atharis, and in the way of the majority of Sunni Islam. This is attested to by history. This is attested to by history. Next, we will turn our attention towards Ihsan, the Syria purification. But first, we will need to deal with a topic that many have asked about over the last 6 weeks and is vital to gain a scholarly, historic understanding of.
So normally we talk about Ihsan, right? We've done Islam, we've done Iman, and now we talk about Ihsan. But because people ask a lot of questions, I know, you have to wait another week before we get to Ihsan. And Hassan, he's been up, who's here, Hassan, always asks about this particular topic. Next week we'll talk about it, inshallah. But this week, we're going to take a break, a detour, for very good reasons. Here's the topic that we're talking about today. What do you know of dinner? Don't all shout at once. Inshallah. Okay, Maryam?
Is it like a religious innovation that deviates from Sunnah?
Okay. What's your name again? Luqman, Bismillah.
Sheikh.
Okay, wait, Luqman, give Luqman.
So you can go quite in depth with our analysis in these different sort of sections. But in a broad sense, it's to do with the innovation, as you said, but in terms of something that sort of deviates from the actual teaching of the Sunnah. So if you add on to them, it's without, however, like when people say, for example, like cars without, that's not really religious, so in that sense, that's what it is.
Alright. Anything else? Zane, welcome back.
Thank you. Bid'ah is, just like brother said, like bid'ah is anything which is a new innovation toward Islam, but most importantly, that innovation is not doing any, it is not a value addition, but it's rather a kind of a hindrance in way of Islam, or it's not like the core of Islam. For example, if we think about maybe air conditioners in mosque, and air conditioners in mosque, and we cannot say it's bid'ah because it's just a facilitation for the people who are coming to pray. Because for bid'ah, if I'm not wrong, I would like to quote a hadith like kullu bid'atin fi zalala kullu zalala fi nar.
Steal my thunder.
Like so, this is the bid'ah, like a thing which is which deviates us from the core of Islam,
Okay.
and that's bid'ah.
Anything from our sisters? God? Anything else?
It's a lot more complicated than what people think.
Okay, right. It's a lot more complicated than people think. Alright. Bismillah. This is some of the stuff that potentially some of you hear, some may be listening, and some may be listening in the future.
Nothing. First time I'm hearing about it.
Anybody like this? Sure, hands up. Seriously? Nobody? Okay.
I've heard people mention it. It's when you introduce something new into the religion which wasn't done before. It's a bad thing. Beware, haram. Something that the Prophet ﷺ warned us about. Doing something that the Prophet ﷺ and his companions never did. You can't do stuff that the Prophet ﷺ and his companions didn't do. If it was good, they would have done it, right? Are you better than them?
By the way, this is not me telling you, this is just like stuff that people say. If you're confused, alright? This is what people say. Alright?
Every bid'ah is a misguidance, and every misguidance is in hell. Hadith. No exceptions. Every means every. No such thing as a good bid'ah.
Is there? Is there such thing as a good bid'ah? That's what we're going today. That's what we're going to be talking about this evening, inshallah. Alright.
How has the concept of bid'ah innovation been understood by the vast majority of scholars for the vast majority of our history? Is it all bad, or can there be good innovations within Islam?
Right. Anybody want to throw in and say, is it all bad? Or is it good? Is there such thing as good bid'ah? Hands up. Who thinks bid'ah can be good and bad? In religion. Forget cars, air conditioners, and all that kind of stuff. In religion, can bid'ah be good and bad? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear. Right, keep your hands still. Alright. Okay. 1. So we think good and bad, right? So we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on one sister or two sisters. Is that it? 3 sisters. So the rest of you would say that it's all bad. Am I correct in saying that? All bad. Yes?
I don't know.
Huh? You don't know?
Wallahu
Who said that? Ah, look. Give me 1 hour and a half, and you'll know. Inshallah. You will. Good, I can deal with that. I can help with that. Alright. Question.
Is this an issue of faith, in which case we refer it to 4 schools? Or Aqidah, in which case we refer it to the Asharis, the Turidis, and the Ahl Hadith?
Sisters, answer that question. Hands up. Speak, or I'll choose somebody. Not many, somebody else. At the back. Keep on thinking your name. Samina. Samina. And your next name? Sarah. Like Samina, Bismillah. What is it? What do you think? Alright. Why is that? Alright. Anybody disagree with her? From the sisters? Huh? It should be what?
It might actually be the first one.
The first one, which is fiqh. Why?
Because it relates to practices quite often. Relates to
Yes.
beliefs.
Beliefs. When we say beliefs, what do we mean?
The 6 articles of faith.
Which is?
آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر.
When we say Iman, Aqidah, it's the 6 pillars. أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر. Those 6 things, that's what we talk about. Bid'ah, technically it could, it does fit in there, but for today's purpose, and for the level you guys are at, it's more fiqh. Or, strictly speaking, bid'ah can occur in people's beliefs, but keeping it very simple. So, yes, you're right, to be honest. But for all intents and purposes, you're also right as well. That's kind of the direction I want to go in. Alright, if it relates to understanding of the 6 pillars, then it's an Aqeedah issue. So in that context, it's not an Aqeedah issue, because we're looking at in actions. In actions, right? Bismillah?
If it relates to something else, then it's a different issue, and we refer to the 4 schools for the answer. Most commonly the case will be asked questions.
Right. Right, an overview of the 4 madhabs. Now we're saying it's issue of fiqh. What do? We go back to the 4 madhabs. Historically, the 4 schools, what's their position on bid'ah? And do they believe it's good or bad? Let's see historically what they say.
The vast majority of the scholars of this Ummah, namely the scholars of the Hanafi school and the Maliki, especially the majority of the later Malikis, Shafi'is and the Hanbali school, reach an agreement that bid'ah can be good and bad.
That is the most authoritative position in those schools. Anybody that's studied fiqh to a serious level, right, will tell you that. That's what they say. Right? When I say, I put it in Arabic in Jumhur, you don't have to put that in Arabic because there are some people who have a mental block. So maybe putting it in Arabic may help them. I'm not saying ijma'. Ijma' means consensus of scholars, no, because as we're going to find out, it's a difference. But that difference is minor, and that's my point, which I'll make clear. The vast majority of scholars, I've just mentioned, hold that bid'ah is good and bad. The vast majority.
That is the standard agreed upon position in all four schools, as shown in their authoritative books and has been the understanding for centuries.
At this juncture, this should be enough. Well, that's the four schools say that. But I get it that in this day and age, and with a lot of misconceptions and the lack of transparency on this topic, because there's a massive, dare I say even deliberate, lack of transparency on this issue. So I'm going to open it all up for you and say, look, this is what they all say. Then you can do what you want with it. But at least you're going to see the whole picture. Rather than just giving one angle and that's it, and you think that's the way, when historically, it's a different picture, and it is when you look at it more deeply.
Further classification.
So not only is bid'ah good and bad, there's a further classification.
The agreement within the four schools was further and classified bid'ah into 5 categories.
5. So not just talking about good or bad, it's broken into 5. What are these 5 categories?
Obligatory innovation, wajib.
An innovation, a bid'ah that is obligatory for you to do. Quite magical, right? That's very different. You said nothing in the corner over here. Why are you laughing? I hope you're okay. Number 2, recommended innovation. It's recommended to do a bid'ah. Right? See what's strange? See me saying this? I know how it sounds, and that's the craziness of the age we live in, that historically this is a fact. But now saying it, I'm like, okay, these guys are going to take this, and if someone will start criticizing, if someone I don't do that. That's it. I mean, that's how you something about the age we live in. When things are factual, yeah, people don't even know it or refuse to accept it. Or hence the chaos. A permissible innovation. This bid'ah is permissible for you to do. And a bid'ah that is makruh, disliked. And last but not least, a bid'ah that is haram. Right? So it's a lot more complicated, as you mentioned, than what you first may think. Right. And again, full transparency. I'm not hiding anything from this. Is an academic lecture. I'm going to present everything to you. So I'm going to be fair. Bismillah.
A minority of classical scholars disagree with the four schools ruling on bid'ah.
So they are a minority, but they are a minority. But I'm not going to hide it from you. But the reality is, most people think this minority is the majority. That's a problem. They think the minority is the majority. No, it's not. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to show 2 very famous examples, not exclusively, but these kind of the main ones. One of them you all will have heard of.
Ibn Taymiyyah, 661 to 728 AH. Imam Ash-Sha'bi, died in 778 AH. Are 2 examples that are well known from those that disagreed.
Right? not exclusively, but these are some of the main well-known from the classical scholars. Right? Someone may say, "Oh, what about Sheikh so-and-so, Sheikh so-and-so?" I would say, majority of classical scholars, not someone who died 80 years ago. He's not a classical scholar. So just people have to be a bit more awake and read things correctly. But Bismillah. So there's a difference. But the difference is minor. The difference is minor in relation to the majority of scholars. Alright. This is a timeline, as you can see. It has the 4 imams, and it has the 2 imams of the Aqidah, schools of Aqidah, the Ash'ari and the Maturidiyya. Ahlul Hadith are considered to be part of the 4 imams anyway, particularly Muhammad ibn Hanbal. My question is this. Some of you know the answer, but don't put your hand up. Alright? I'm going to try and see what people think. Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Shafi'i, where do you think they are in this timeline? Who, hands up, who would say that Ibn Taymiyyah would be here? Let's say here. Hands up. Hands up who don't know. Who don't know. Okay, that's fair, I can deal with that. Right. There's no blue dots this time. I'm talking about Zane. I took out the blue dots because last time you could tell what it was. I took it out so you could catch it. So Ibn Taymiyyah, I don't do that. A named scholar. So that's where he sits in the timeline. Right? And Imam Shafi'i is there. Sisters, what does that tell you about Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Shafi'i in terms of where they are? Hands up. Right, I'm going to pick on people. Too many silent voices. Alright, listen to that. You with the purplish bottle that see through the water. Quite a bit later then. Excellent. What's your name, sorry? Sophia. So we've got 2. Alright, yes. She's right. A lot later. A question. Ibn Taymiyyah, is he considered to be from the Salaf? From the Salaf? From the first 3 generations? No. Just a useful college. It's interesting. And these were scholars. Right? But we'll talk about more about Ibn Taymiyyah today, and in next semester, should Allah give you and I a long life, we'll talk about Ibn Taymiyyah in a bit more depth then. Alright, the chaos. Hassan.
Chaos. Those that are against the classification agreed by the 4 schools are unbeknown to them, following a small number of scholars and are unaware that the majority have said otherwise.
That's my finding. That's what I come to see on a regular basis. Those that are against the classification agreed by the 4 schools are unbeknown. That's just well done. I have a good opinion. Unbeknown to them, following a small number of scholars, and again, just well done, are unaware that the majority have said otherwise.
They believe that their opinion is the only valid one. The way of the Prophet, the Sahaba, and the early Muslims, the Salaf. This has led to them criticizing those that follow the majority opinion as innovators and deviants.
Anybody want to share any experiences that can highlight that reality? I could spend hours with you on that topic, but anyway, let's want to hear what you guys have to say. Not to mention names of groups. You already have, don't mention groups and names. I don't?
But yeah, they did talk about innovation a lot and holding other people accountable.
Yeah, that's kind of. Anybody else want to share any horror stories?
It's not a horror story per se, but you know.
It's not a story, it's not a horror story.
It's
No, questions at the end.
It's a minor one.
Minor questions at the end. Share with you stories.
Majority of people on social media.
Majority of people on social media who are your friends. Then be careful.
It's like people read on the comment section.
On the comment section.
Comments always sympathize with that kind of viewpoint.
Any specific examples?
I was told it's bid'ah to do dua together after Jama'ah prayer.
It's bid'ah to do dua together
Yeah.
after prayer.
After Jama'ah prayer.
Interesting.
To add to that, every prayer
Every prayer come with dua.
in congregation.
In congregation. Anything else? Any other house stories?
There was one Sheikh who said that you can't meet your family on Eid.
And arrogance and low-key that would make you laugh and make you cry. That's, say that again so people on live stream can hear that.
There was a Sheikh who said recently that you can't, things are video ways that you can't meet your family on Eid. And he advised against meeting your family on Eid.
You can't meet your family on Eid. You can't. You cannot meet your family on Eid because it's a bid'ah. My God.
He advised against it.
Look at that. That is a very horrific one. I can beat it though. I can beat it. Anyway, I'll have no time. Anything, Mrs. Sisters, when I had someone spoke? I heard somebody speak. It's good. Actually, raise your hands. Dua.
Oh, this.
No, that one's okay. That one's okay. No problem. This is okay, but that one's okay. This one's not okay, but that one is okay. Which is strange. Any other stories?
You have your classical concept.
Yeah, that's a famous one. That's a famous one. The bid'ah and all is a bid'ah. And funerals, all kinds of manners of criticism there, you know. And subhanAllah, when it comes to burying, and this person shouts, this is haram, you can't do this is bid'ah, you can't do this, and this is wrong, and this is like, seriously, is this the time, right now, we're burying somebody, and you want to talk about this right now? And you're wrong as well. I wouldn't know, you're completely wrong on this topic. And the list goes on. Ayo, I said on the microphone.
Indeed, they may never have heard what the majority have said on this matter.
I actually believe that to be the case. The vast majority of these people have been told. And I think that that's a crime. Because they're sincere. I believe they're sincere. I don't believe the way they're doing it is right, but I believe that they're very sincere. But you know the problem that happens with these people? When they realize that they weren't told the whole picture, what do you think that does to somebody who for years of his life has been led to believe that all bid'ah is bad, and that's the way of the ummah, all the scholars and agreements, and then comes to find out it's not like that. In fact, he is a very small minority. He's following a very small minority, but for years he believed that was the majority. What does that do to somebody? Their trust in the Sheikh, or the scholars, or the madrasa, or the book, or the parents, or the imam, or whoever. What do you think that does to somebody's trust? And what happens to these people, inevitably, they don't trust anybody. And the problem that happens then is that they leave Islam. Listen carefully what I'm saying. In your life, in the next 10 years, you'll see examples of what I'm telling you. 10 years of your life, you'll see this. People who are like this, give them 10 years and see what happens to them. Best case scenario, they stop practicing. Worst case scenario, they leave Islam. Because they realize, okay, this is wrong. And they themselves burn out. 10 years of your life, remember what I'm telling you right now. You give it 10 years, and you'll see what I'm saying to be true. It's not I have some rage, some powers, it's just that's how it goes. It's a circle, and I've seen many examples in my own life of what I'm telling you. It's a circle. Because you can't trust anybody. And Shaitan is there to pull you out of Islam. Oh, you can't trust these imams, you can't trust these sheikhs. So when the right scholar comes and tries to explain it to you, you're not going to listen because all these people lie to you. So why would you trust the sheikh who has the right understanding? The whole trust is gone. And that's a problem. I don't really have. Hassan.
This has led to massive disputes and arguments, division and fitna. It's important to look at this topic historically from the viewpoint of the forefathers.
You know, I was listening to something recently, a particular Dari, we'll call him Sheikh, a Dari, who spent maybe large part of his adult practicing life pushing a particular way. Only in the last couple of years to realize, oh, that was the wrong way. And now he's kind of backtracking, which alhamdulillah, I get it's okay fair, but it's not to say, alhamdulillah, I got it wrong. And for the past 10, 25, whatever, however many years he, as a group of them, got it wrong. At what cost? You took a whole bunch of people with you, and now you've come out with it. Only now to say, I got it wrong. You see. Massively problematic. Because now you have to deal with all these people, hundreds of thousands of people perhaps, have followed you. And now for you to say, oh, I got it wrong. I'm going to mention specific examples, those who know the people I'm talking about. No need to mention names, but at what cost? At what cost? How many people's iman and belief have been damaged? Simply because only now you're understanding what I'm telling you guys right now. There are people in the West who right now, after 10, 20, maybe 30 years, right, I'm starting to understand what I'm telling you right now. And they've taken a lot of people with them. Just to show you how important this topic is. Imagine spending 30 years of your life on pushing a particular way to realize it was wrong. But then you took a lot of people with you on that journey. You're responsible for that in your You're responsible for that in your Qiyamah. And a lot of tawbah has to be made. But I look at that, and some of the stuff like SpaceX, stuff that I worked out, I was fortunate enough to kind of understand it very quickly. For some people, they never got it in years. These are some very famous speakers, very famous sheikhs, now coming out and saying, we got it wrong. Alhamdulillah, better late than never. Better late than never. But at what cost? Anyway.
How did the four schools, the vast majority of Sunni Orthodox scholars, come to the understanding that bid'ah can be good and bad when the hadith are so clear?
Right. So I'm saying, historically, that's the case. Where's their proof for this? That's what I'm going to present in this evening, inshallah, for the rest of the time we have, inshallah. Alright. I want you to pay attention here for the next 10 minutes or so. Muhammad, you awake? Good. Bismillah.
Two groups of hadith and bid'ah. Those that warn against introducing newly begun matters. Those that encourage the introduction of newly begun matters as long as they are good practices.
Right. So there are two groups of hadith. One group of hadith warn against, and I put against in green. And that will become very useful for you later on, as you'll find out. And those that encourage the introduction of newly begun matters, as long as they are good practices. Two lots of hadith. Alright? Pay attention.
Group 1. Those that warn against introducing newly begun matters. Beware of matters newly begun, for every matter newly begun is innovation. Every innovation is misguidance, and every misguidance is in hell. Ahmed Abu Dawud ibn Majah Tirmidhi. Whoever innovates in this matter of ours something that doesn't belong in it, this is rejected. Abu Dawud and Ahmed.
There are other hadith, but I'm I'm just going to give you those two for now. But there's others. In case somebody wants to be wise, or there's other hadith. Yeah, I know there's other hadith, but I'm not going to fit everything in one slide. Because it gives you an idea. People like to nitpick. Alright, that's the first group. What are they saying? You can't do new practices. It's whoever innovates in this matter of ours, something that does not belong to it, which is very important. This is rejected. Beware of newly begun matters, for every matter newly begun is innovation. They are the most popular hadith that you guys come across. Hands up, how many have heard these hadith? Hands up high. There we go, excellent. But probably heard it the wrong way. Alright? Probably heard it the wrong way. That's the first group that were against introducing new matters. Alright, group two.
Group 2, those that encourage the introduction of good practices. He who institutes a good practice, Sunnah al-Hasana, in Islam, the reward of it, and all who perform it after him without diminishing their own rewards in the slightest. And whoever institutes a bad practice, Sunnah al-Sayyatan, in Islam, bears the responsibility of it, and all who perform it after him without diminishing their own responsibility in the slightest.
So when you teach someone the wrong thing, alright, that's a bad practice. Every person that goes on to perform that, or has the belief, or the understanding that is wrong that you had, and you pass it on to other people, you can sin for that.
Muslim, Ahmed, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah.
How many of you have heard of this hadith? The mistake.
No, clarification. So,
I'm going to ask you, after you pray, I'm going to ask you the first person I'm going to ask that question. You're the first person I'm going to ask. And then if it's not you, it's Muhammad. You're the next person I'm going to ask. Pay attention. Yeah?
Other narrations exist that indicate the same meaning.
Is there a contradiction?
We have two groups of hadiths, 1 and 2. Group 1 is warning us against introducing something new into the faith.
Yes, the first group of hadith warns you against introducing new matters and uses the word every. Alright? But the second group of hadith or hadith says something different.
Group 2 saying that you can, provided it's good, and you will be rewarded for it.
What's going on here? Hadith saying don't do this, or the hadith saying you can do this. What's going on?
How do you reconcile the apparent difference?
First of all, can you see the difference I'm talking about? That's the first point. Can you see what I'm talking about? Yeah? Who does not see the contradiction or the points here? Hands up if you can't see it. It's very important. Don't feel shy. You don't, I'll explain it. I'm here to explain it. But the first group of hadith. Now, look at that. Warns against introducing new matters. Beware of every new matter. Innovation. Every innovation is disguised. Second hadith, whoever innovates in this matter as something that does not belong to it is rejected. What this hadith is saying, don't do anything new in deen. Do not introduce a good practice. Get that from the hadith? Really? Like, the second hadith is different. He or she who institutes a good practice in Islam. You do a good practice. You introduce a good practice. Something that wasn't done before. You earn the reward of it, and the reward every single person that copies you. Without any diminishing of your own reward. But the opposite is also true. And whoever institutes or introduces a bad practice in Islam bears the responsibility of it. So this hadith is saying, not only is introducing a good practice good, you're going to get the reward of it, and the reward of every single person that copies you. Other hadith says, no, do not introduce newly begun practices. Can you see it now?
I'm still sort of confused.
Just listen, tell me what's confusing.
I-
You're probably not the only one, but you've got the
Yeah.
courage to say so. which I respect.
and I'm not saying this in like a what's it called, like a argumentative way. I just want clarification. So in this hadith here, he who institutes a good practice is not like referencing some like stuff that's been told to do. So say in a context where it's not being done, to introduce that. So for example, things like giving sadaqah is like introducing that to like say a group of people who don't give sadaqah. Is it not referencing that sort of?
And that's what some people say these days to get on the hadith, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how people want to use that to build an evil in the hadith. They use that.
I was gonna say.
That is not that's not something valid. As we'll find out.
Can I get the raqam for the hadith so I can find it in Arabic as well? Because I feel like I'll have a better understanding of it.
That hadith is, mashallah, it's more good. It's more good, inshallah. But more important than that is everything else.
Yeah. As if you're interpreting the good practice as like, sorry.
Alright.
How do you know though that?
Now hang on,
What
first
do
at the end. See your fault. He who introduces a bad practice, there you go. Allah is innovating questions during the class when there should be questions on I don't understand it. Do not be able to. Alright, let's move on. And so now this makes sense. Is there a contradiction? One hadith saying, don't introduce new practices. The second hadith, which is also sahih, saying, if you introduce good practices, you gain rewards for it. You're not going to hell. You can gain a reward for it. And not only that, every single person that copies you also gains a reward. Alright? Bismillah. How do we reconcile that kind of difference?
Remember the lecture on madhab and hadith.
Yeah, remember that lecture on madhab and hadith. Think back. So, never mind. We're going to break for Salah, but I want to think, not during Salah, obviously. I want to think about how we reconcile these two hadith. Alright? Both are sahih. How do we join between them? Inshallah. Now when I come back, I'm asking you first, I'll ask Muhammad second. I had you in mind anyway last week. Inshallah. So we're going to ask, how do we reconcile these?
It's not,
No.
it's not a question, honestly.
It's not a question.
You know, you asked before, do you understand before I move on?
What?
Like, I didn't think you saw me, but I was just going to ask for the first one of hadith, and it's like,
No. Are you asking me a question or are you going to tell me the answer?
Like,
No, not like it, nothing.
like,
Don't keep it nice.
I don't,
Keep it off the social media.
I
Alright?
don't understand it though.
Huh?
I don't understand it though.
You don't understand
The best hadith, is it about good practice?
Clearly you do understand it, which is good. Just, inshallah, you're going to go away, think, we're going to pray, Sheikh, and then you're going to think about how do you reconcile between these two groups of hadith. Alright, this is where I'm going to get you to think a bit deeply. I'm going to ask you first, Ali, and then I'm going to ask Muhammad second. Alright, inshallah, to join between these hadith. Inshallah. Alright.